Okay, now give your neighbor a hand. Give yourself a hand. I'm thinking, why am I giving myself a hand? Because nobody else going to do it for you. Outside of what you just received. Amen? So anytime somebody tells you to give yourself a hand, you better take it in its fullness. Because people of God, it's becoming extra important for us to begin to start settling into the fact that God has made us so beautiful and so wonderful. And it's time for us to start enjoying what he created. And part of that enjoyment is taking little micro moments and being able to say, God, I thank you. I thank you for how I look. I thank you for how I sound. I thank you for every trial, every tribulation, every struggle, because I know that nothing have caught you off guard. Amen? Amen. So we're going to jump into actually a continuation of what I've been speaking about, not yet, but coming, understanding times and seasons of purpose. I want to come back to something we started about 3 weeks ago. We talked about the gathering. We said God doesn't call random people. He selects specific people for a specific purpose before they even have the language for it. Jeremiah couldn't argue his way out of what God called him into. Psalms 139 told us, your days were written before you lived a single one of them. You were not an accident, ain't that right, little man? You were not a backup plan. You were a deliberate choice by God. But here's what I need you to understand today. Being chosen is not the same thing as being complete. Being selected does not mean you are ready. It means you're next. Somebody say, I'm next. And between selected and release, there is a place that most people don't have a name for. But today we're going to name it. God didn't gather you to abandon you. He gathered you to combine all of you. Amen? Amen. I want to start today by telling you a truth, not a story, but a truth. Because some of you have been walking around with an interpretation of life that is completely wrong. And until you correct that misinterpretation, you will keep drawing the wrong conclusion. Someone repeat after me. Wrong interpretation. Wrong interpretation. Wrong conclusion. Wrong conclusion. Hidden does not mean halted. Repeat that after me. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are in the combining phase. And the combining phase does not look like progress while you're in the middle of it. But from God's perspective, it's everything. Romans 8:28. We are assured and we know all things work together for the good. And for those who love God and called according to his design and purpose. Let's start with all things. Not some things, not the easy things, not the good things. All of it. Working together. That's combination language, y'all. They are being mixed. They are being integrated. They are being coordinated by a God who would never and never will be confused about what's going on and how things are going to turn out. Fitting into a plan. The Amplified version, which you read, makes it plain. This is not random. This is architect. God is not improvising, but he is building. Look at somebody. Say, building. Hey, put your hands up there, too. You got to do building. Amen? For those who love God and are called, both conditions mentioned matter. is not just love, but it's love plus assignment. Your position in him is what activates a combination. Romans 8:28, I love it, but it's not just a comfort verse. It is a construction verse. Wow. God is building something. He is using everything. Somebody say everything. Everything. I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite stories in the Bible. And that's Joseph. For just a minute. I'm not talking about the palace version. I'm not talking about the Joseph with the ring, with the robe, with the chariot. I want to talk about that Joseph that was in the pit. Do y'all know that Joseph? That Joseph that was in Potter's house being lied on. The Joseph sitting in prison for something that he didn't do. Because here is what his brothers saw. They saw a problem they needed to get rid of. Here is what his father saw. A son who was gone. Here is what Egypt saw, a slave. Here is what Potiphar's wife saw, a threat. Here is what the prison wall saw, an inmate. But here is what God saw. A prime minister in the combining phase. Anybody can relate? Genesis 5:20. As for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring about the many people should be kept alive, and they are this day. Every stop in Joseph's journey, y'all, was not a detour. It was an ingredient. The pit gave him desperation. The prison gave him administration. Y'all going with me? Potiphar's house gave him stewardship. The butler gave him access. His brothers gave him a testimony. Every single thing that tried to destroy him became the very thing God used to develop him. Is that happening with us in here? Not one piece was wasted. Not one season was pointless. I know I'm talking to somebody right now. Not one tear fell on the floor without God picking it up and putting it inside the recipe. Your pit is not your punishment. It was your preparation. God was combining what you couldn't even see. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also planted eternity in man's heart and mind. Beautiful in its time. Not all the time. Not in the middle of the process, but in its time. When God says it's ready, it becomes beautiful. And when he put a sense of eternity in you, so you would know this season isn't your final destination. You were made for more than just this moment. I think I'll repeat that. You was made for more than just this moment. I need to name something for you today. This is my favorite part. Somebody say, put a name on it. You put a name on it, you can change it. Amen. I'm going to digress a little bit, and I got to share something with you, that a piece of revelation that happened to me, even on yesterday. I was sitting at home making plans for the day, and I decided that I wanted to go and get me a new office chair. Right? But I start out by saying, the value that is on you cannot be changed by somebody who came after you. And we got to be careful that we don't allow for people to try to change the price or the value that God put on us in the beginning. So I go to this store and I'm looking for office chairs. I go back to the place where the office chairs were. I see all shapes and sizes. And I looked and I began to start seeing, and I noticed the differences in prices that were there. The generic version was substantially cheaper than the name brand. There was one name brand in there that was named after an athlete that we all know. And that one was 2 or 3 times more expensive than the generic brand. When I initially saw it, I was like, whoo, that's expensive, like a lot of people do. And then I was stopped while I was thinking about how expensive it was. And I call it my brilliance begins to start saying and begins to start convicting me about judging what had happened. And it then moved me to a place into where it said, big name, big price. Let me share something with you. Your name is extremely valuable, and nobody has the right to discount it. And since no one has the right to discount it, that's why it's becoming very important for you to realize that. Amen? So I didn't end up getting a chair, another chair. It wasn't because of the price, because that was irrelevant. It was about a lesson to be learned in how God sees us. Amen? Because when we don't see right, we don't act right. When we don't see right, we don't walk right. When we don't see right, we don't talk right. And all of us in here are trying to get it right. Amen? Can you bless the Lord in here on that? Me naming something for us today, because most people who are struggling in this season are not struggling because God has abandoned them. They're struggling because of a lie they've been believing. The lie is this: if you can't see progress, then progress is not happening. That is wrong, and I need for you to hear this one. You really got to catch this one today. The most dangerous thing that you can do in this combining phase that we are in is make a permanent judgment from a temporary position. Okay. You look at the pain and you call it punishment. You look at the delay and you call it delay and denial. You look at the confusion and you call it abandonment. Anybody ever been there? Come on. But you are evaluating something that ain't even finished yet. Yeah. You are tasting the ingredients before they've been combined and saying that the whole thing is ruined. That ain't discernment, people. Wow. That is impatience dressed up like wisdom. Oh. Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. God ain't confused about our situation. He's not scrambling. He is not looking at you trying to figure out what to do next. No. He had a plan before you even had a problem. The distance between his thoughts and your thought is not a distance of abandonment, it's a distance of design. Somebody say a distance, of design. Because God sees the finished product. You just stuck in the middle of the process. So stop judging what God is building from the